quick break. I just want to say thank you for all the people around the world: Jamaica, Germany, Asia, Europe, South America. Thank you for listening to Leap of Health. Thank you for the support. And remember, my book is out. You can find it on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you again for all the support. And now back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Valgood, and this is Leap of Health. And I am really, really excited. I am doing a 10-part series podcast. You guys know I get you guys different interviews here and there. And this 10-part series, it's all about cultivating art and how important it is to heal ourselves and see how good art really makes us feel. And today we have a really good friend of mine. I love her. You could check her out. She's an actress, a singer, and she's all over the TV. So definitely you can check her out there. Her name is Monica Azcarate. And before I tell you how much I love her and how great she is, thank you for being here today. And before we start into you know, all these amazing questions about art and the importance in life, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born in Houston, Texas, but I have family in Colombia, in South America. I have family in France, so I had a very cultural background. I grew up loving to sing. That was always what I thought I was going to do in my life as a child. I loved the sound of music. So that's all I would do is sing the sound of music songs. And then I got into acting, and my whole life has really just revolved around the arts. And my parents have always been like great supporters because they saw how much I loved it. I'm an only child, so they had a lot of focus on me and what I wanted to do, and I was very appreciative of that. And yeah, I'm also a big lover of animals and cats. I'm a cat lady, so that's a little bit about me.
I love that. I love that. And uh, I guess I could say you're one of those lucky and blessed, individuals in life that I know that it has been supported by your family, which I think that's great. I think, as you well know, not all parents are the same. You are an only
Mhm.
child. Some people have a lot of siblings. Economical situations are different too. Um, Tell us a little bit about that part of life and how they support you. Were they shocked a little bit that you were like, no, I don't want to be a teacher or a doctor or, a CEO of a company
Mhm.
or going to university? How did they take that part of like, I want to pursue art as my career?
I think it was just like they already knew that. My mom would always say that I was singing before I could talk. I was just always singing, dancing. I was in, tap and ballet as a little girl. That's all. Like they knew that that was a part of me. I was an entertainer, and they were like, "Okay, this is it." And once I was able to develop myself and I was vocalizing that, I love to do the talent shows. I think they just saw that and they just supported me in that. And there was, you know, my parents have very unique jobs. My dad's a martial arts instructor. My mom is part of her family company where they make flavors and scents for like candles and things like that. So I think, they're very artistic in their own way as well. So they just wanted to support me. And if it made me happy, which they saw that it did, I loved it so much. They just not even pushed me, they were just there for me. So I got really, really lucky that I had parents that just wanted me to be happy and saw that I was so happy doing all this theatrical stuff. They loved it.
That's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. It's you see so many kids out there so talented, you know. Um, why do you think it's art so important in one's life?
Well, it's funny. Like, I was thinking about that. And a lot of times, especially in LA, people talk about getting therapy and how therapy is really it shouldn't even be taboo to talk about. It should just be like something that we all have in our back pocket to kind of work on ourselves. And I kind of feel like that's art. I think the importance of art is that there's this basis, like this base of connection. So it can connect us to something, someone, to ourselves. For me, theater was my therapy. I went to an all girls school, and it was very, very difficult for me as a young girl. I didn't, it was a very small school. So you grow up with the same small group of girls as you go throughout the grade. And I didn't fit in because I didn't feel American and I didn't feel Latina. I was like this like person who just didn't fit in. So theater was my outlet. Theater, I got to just be free and be a character for a day, or, for as long as we were doing the show. Same with singing. I got to tell a story. That was my way of like my therapy in a sense. I used to always say it's my therapy as a kid. Um, and my school also didn't have a theater program. And I realized like how like just heavy that was for me. I needed an outlet to let it out. Just like in therapy, I think we need an outlet to talk and to get out whatever is in us. So if there's a character and this person is going through something, I can just put myself in that position. And if I'm feeling really heavy that day, I can just let it out in a performance. I don't know, it's therapeutic. Art, like let's say you're an artist, you're a painter. Gosh, that is a way to just kind of put all of your emotions on a blank canvas. What an opportunity to just put that out there. And then you put your art piece on a wall, and the viewer comes and it speaks to them. Maybe it speaks to them in the same way that the artist put the art out there, or maybe they get a different interpretation. But it's all about that connection, right? Like, even though we're from different backgrounds, this artist came from a very low income household, and this viewer maybe came from a very wealthy background, but we still understand the same language through art. And I think that's so beautiful. There's that connection. It's that humanity connection that I think art is so important. We can figure that out between us.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the point of, you mentioned therapy and art and how it heals us in different ways.
Mm.
How has all these artistic different ways that you do, how does that, do you feel like art has somehow healed you towards the person that you are now?
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Like I said, if I didn't have it as a kid, I had a lot of depression issues from that school that I went to. It was very much a focus of academics, which is great, but there was very little art programs that I felt like I needed to express myself. That's why I kind of like I get really sad when I see a lot of funding is not being put in place for schools' art programs,
Mhm.
because then all of a sudden we come out into the real world and everyone is talking about mental health and therapy, and I'm like, well, art is that. And it's really shaped me to to be who I am today, really. I mean, as cliche as that sounds, it really has. I feel like I go on set, like the last thing I did for a TV show, I got to put it all out there. It was an emotional scene, and it felt so liberating once I was able to get that out. I didn't even know I was holding on to that emotion, and I let it out, and it felt so good, and I was like a new person after that, you know?
No,
So
that's great. Yeah, no, I definitely, I think it's on what you said. It's just like so important to, especially in schools, that they have to do a lot of cutting because of financial stuff, and they don't have like a lot of art classes or art programs in different, ways of singing or acting or dancing. I mean, we both love dancing, and that's something that
mm,
as crazy as it sounds, some people has never literally been able to take a dance class or actually, try to learn how to dance because
yeah,
of whatever situation. And to me, it sounds like so crazy, right? As dancers, we're both dancers. So it's like, what? You've never taken a class or you've never really wanted to like
yeah,
dance? Is like, how can you breathe?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's so funny because my boyfriend, he's not a dancer, and he loves watching me dance, and he's always like amazed. And he's an actor, so to him, he says he's not a dancer, but now he's obsessed with taking dance classes. And now he comes to me and he talks to me about it, and his mind has opened so much to possibilities. Like, what else can I do? What else am I capable of? You
Hmm.
push yourself in that sense, in anything really. And even like with artwork, with acting, a lot of people are like, I could never be an actor. Try it, see what happens, and then it opens up so much for your life.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree with that. And I feel also too, I mean, you and me, we are artists, like we
Mhm.
are official, we call ourselves artists.
Yeah.
You're an actress, I'm a painter, I'm a dancer, I'm a writer, you're a singer. I did theater when I was younger. I did all these things the same like you. So we'll literally I think we have similar but not similar ways to where now we actually like it took me a long time to actually say I'm an artist
Me too.
because
Me too.
because uh on the background, that my upbringings, my mom, she's a nurse, my dad was a chemical engineer. They were very into like you need to be a lawyer, a doctor, at this and that, because that's how also they were raised. So
Yeah.
they saw art or artists as like one of those cool things that you do here and there,
Yeah.
there's a
A
birthday.
hobby.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, she's dancing or she's singing, but never saw it as like that's who she's gonna be. She's gonna be a dancer. She's gonna be a painter. I think
Mhm.
it's so difficult for just people in general to see art as like a job, and I think
Yeah.
it's sad to you know it's sad to me to see because there's so many people super talented out there, and they're always like you gotta go to school, and then it's nothing bad about that. I think it's cool, it's amazing. My two brothers are chemical engineers,
Oh,
and
wow.
they love it and they're
Yeah.
happy, and there's a road and a path for everyone, and I think that's great. But I feel like for everybody that doesn't call themselves an artist, even though or at least I think even though you're a doctor or a teacher or whatever it is that you've chosen as a career,
Hmm.
is one of those things that is just, I think it makes us happy. I feel like even if you're not the greatest dancer, you're not gonna go in a competition tomorrow, no one cares, you
No.
know but I think it's very important to everybody to maybe sit on that thought and be like, you know what? I have to live it. And so what? Just,
Hmm.
get up there, dance, or take a class if you want, or just take a blank
Yeah.
piece of paper, you know, do a little scribble, whatever it is. I think is so important. I think cultivating art within ourselves is like a major part of who we are, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
What would you have to say for all those, I call them the civilians out
Yeah.
there that don't, obviously they're like, no, I'm definitely not a dancer, or
Mhm.
I'm not a painter, I'm not an actress, I'm not a singer, I'm not any of that. I just like to
Yeah.
go and do my accounting job and whatever. What will you tell to all those individuals that are out there and that are happy, but they have never really tried to cultivate their art within themselves?
It's funny. I was just having this conversation about if you don't try something, the answer will always be no, right? So, like, you never know the possibilities unless you try. If you want to do your thing and you want to stay in your little comfortable cocoon, then that's up to you. That's your choice. No one can force you to do that. Oh my gosh, the possibilities. What are the possibilities of the unknown? You don't know. My boyfriend says this thing. I'm trying to remember what he says. It's it doesn't exist until you create it. So what a that's he's a writer as well. And we made a film together. And it was something that he wrote during COVID in his little apartment where he had nothing to do and he just had this idea. We made the film with such a little budget, with wonderful people to help us, amazing stories along the way. We made all these memories, and we had a final product that we put out for, all these film festivals, these short film festivals. And we always look at that today and we say, man, that didn't exist until he wrote it and until we created it. And look what we created. It's a beautiful, beautiful cinematic piece. It's
Mhm.
really well done. So that's what I would tell someone is like, why not explore? Why not see what's possible? Why not pick up a paintbrush and just see what colors speak to you? I remember I did that one time. I'm not the best painter, but I have a painting in my guest room that I did when I was feeling really low. And I picked all these colors, like kind of muted browns, because that's just how I was feeling. And I love this painting. There's something about it where I look at it, even when I'm happy, I get something from it, and it's there. I made it. I did it. It wasn't there before. It was a blank canvas. That's for anyone. If they're stuck in a rut job and they're not happy, why not try something? Okay, let's go for a jog. You usually don't hike, go for a hike. You usually don't dance. Why don't you go out and watch some people salsa dancing? See the energy that you feel, right? Like see what happens to you. Like, oh, I this feels good. What's this about? um it can evoke something different that you're not used to, sitting behind a
Mhm.
desk every day, and then you come home, you make dinner, it becomes that whole same same process, and it
Mhm.
becomes one note. What's it like to go up? What's it like to go down? What's it like to just explore? That's what art does. And a lot of times I think people get a little bit, they're perfectionists. I can relate to that when it comes to, like, painting or something. You want to be perfect. You don't want to mess up. Just in acting, you don't want to mess up a line. But my art teacher in second grade, Mrs. Wilson, she would always say there's no mistakes in art, and that's so true. You just alter the course, you figure it
Mhm.
out. You maybe that mistake in your artwork you think is a mistake, but oh my gosh, it created something really beautiful that you didn't expect. And that's something we can all learn from art.
I love that. I love that you said that in art there's no mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
It remind me when I do teach my beginner class. When I do those classes, people are so self-conscious and like, oh my God, I don't look like the person over there, or like I don't look like the people on TV, or I look stupid, I'm doing it
Yeah.
wrong, or whatever. And that just goes for any type of art, whether it's dancing or painting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Naturally we're gonna compare ourselves to like someone that's better. And my take on that, it's always like, you know what? Just have fun. I
Yeah.
think arts are the channel, that path, that way that we can use
Mm-hmm.
to look silly and be crazy
Yeah.
and do all these other things that you wouldn't be doing on your accounting job.
Yes, exactly. And it's so funny that you said that because Eric, he's learning how to dance, and he sees all these amazing dancers and he wants to be that, and I commend him for that. But the one thing I tell him, and I'm sure this is true with you, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I talk to my girlfriends about salsa dancing, we can get someone that just does the basics, and he's having so much fun that we are having so much fun. You know what I mean? It's about that energy that you share with each other, about enjoying the music. It's not about the steps, it's not about looking a certain way. It's about that connection with each other.
Yes.
And we have so much fun together. It's that moment, right? Life is full of moments, and that moment is just so wonderful to have. You don't have to be perfect. And that's
At
what I try and
all.
tell him all the time. Like, don't worry about being perfect, just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, like one of the things that I do too, and I love it. I think that's probably like one of my favorite things. at the end of the class, every time I teach a beginner class, and this is people that have never
Mm,
step on a dance floor. They have never touched another person to actual, dance. So
yeah.
they have like these like, oh my God, I don't want to touch my partner. I don't want to like hold their hands. This is
Awkward.
weird. Like all these feelings. And so at
Yeah.
the end of the class, I make this little circle with them and I play like random songs and I'm like, show me your moves. And
Nice.
they're like, what? I'm like, we all have our moves. Even if you have never danced, even if you're not a dancer or whatever it is that you're telling yourself, if someone tells you, show me your moves, your body will do some like weird and funny and whatever.
Right.
And believe me, you will have a move.
Yeah.
And and I think this is so important just like in life to be like, as we said, it doesn't have to dancing, it doesn't have to be, and you don't have to be around people. I feel like, um, I'm very into health and the things that health does, like art, and in this case, we're talking about all these art forms, but literally, you could just be cooking your breakfast, and even if you're moving your hips side to side, your little shoulders, that
Yeah.
little baby seed of cultivating art within yourself
Hmm.
makes you smile every time.
For sure. Yeah. You know what I used to do? I should do it more often. I love Jamiroquai. It's like my favorite band in the world. They have like this really funky kind of music. And I used to open my windows at nighttime so you could see inside my apartment. And if I was like feeling really good, I'd play Jamiroquai and I'd start dancing because in the hopes that someone would see me and like get a smile on their face and be like, "Wow, like that's awesome," you know? So I'm sure you've seen that like when people have their headphones in and they're dancing, it just makes you feel good because they're just living in the moment and they're loving that, you know? It just makes you like love it.
And yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I call it that art is some sort of meditation because, as you mentioned, you're
Hmm.
always in the moment. Whether you're a pro or just having fun in the kitchen, moving your hips
Hmm.
side to side, it brings you to that like one moment.
Yeah.
Um, in your life, tell us like a good experience that you were like, oh my God, I was like in that moment and I was not even doing that routine. Or like I was not acting or whatever, but it pro you like it really like changed you.
I mean, it was the first moment that I did a play, actually. I think I was 10 years old and we did Oliver Twist, and I was Oliver. And I remember there was a song called "Where Is Love," and it's about this little orphan boy. He's wondering where love is. He's an orphan. He wants to see his parents, and it's this beautiful, sad song. But they had it where the chorus singers were in the back, and everything was black. Everything was just dark. You couldn't see the audience. You couldn't see anyone on the stage. And then here I am in the spotlight on my knees. And for like the first verse or something, it was just the people in the back singing these words of "Where is love?" all the lyrics to that. And I'm just sitting there in the spotlight, listening to the words and actually feeling them. And then I got to sing my verse, and I'm just in this moment with the spotlight on me. Everyone's watching. I'm feeling emotions, and I was like, "This is it. This is I. There. I don't know. It's one of those things that you can't explain, but it's a
Mhm.
moment I will never ever forget. It was pure happiness. Like it's just pure bliss. I guess that's what you could call it, bliss. And that's when I knew like this is it, because I wasn't an actor before this show. I wanted to sing. My mom put me in a musical for like a summer camp. She's like, "Oh, she likes to sing, maybe she'll like doing a musical." And that was a moment I was like, this is what I want to do. The emotions that were coming out of a 10-year-old, I
Yeah,
mean, it was indescribable. I loved it.
but it's
That was a
amazing.
moment for me. Hmm.
How do you think anyone that, because as we said, there's like a very small percentage of people that do pursue these careers. We'll just say to that bigger percentage of people that would like to have or experience that moment, what can they do?
Just in anything in art.
just in anything. But we'll just say it will bring them that joy or that experience.
For me, it's all about trying. For a long time, I only did commercials, and it was hard for me to even do commercials because I was so scared. My biggest thing in life that I'm learning to overcome is fear. Fear is a really big part of my life. Not thinking I'm good enough, not exploring the unknown because it's the unknown. Oh my gosh. So what if I mess up? What if I can't memorize all these lines, you know? Um, when I was a kid, I didn't have those thoughts. I just wanted to do it because I loved it. As an adult, I think, there's things that we go through in life that kind of put up walls. And I think that's what I've experienced. So I'm just starting to get into TV because I've let those walls down. I'm like, no, I enjoy this. It's not, commercials are great, they're fun, but I want to explore. And for a long time I didn't want to because I was so scared. Wow, God, what if I get on set and these people have been doing this for years, and I've never really worked with a director with my lines and putting that out there and my interpretation of what this scene is. um but then you do it and you're like on such a high. It's just like, wow, I really do love this. So I would just tell people, try it. Try it. That is the biggest lesson that I've taken my 35 years of life. Try it. If you fail, you fail, but at least you tried. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen that video of Jim Carrey where he
Mm-hmm.
talks about his dad, and his dad could have been a great comedian,
Yeah.
but he didn't try, so he got a regular job. But then he lost that job, so he failed at something that he didn't want to do instead of failing at something that at least he tried to do because he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And that has spoken truth into my life, and that's what I try to do. And if someone's scared, just push through it. We're all scared. All of us are scared in life. We're scared of something. But let's
It's
let's
really,
have fun, explore, let's mess up, let's get messy, let's do it.
yeah, I think it's such a great point right there. We're all scared.
We all are.
Even even when we're looking all tough and strong and like, you know, we do get that scarcity, that
Mhm.
fear. But it's what we do afterwards of, when we're going through. I think just being like, whether it's at a quinceañera or a wedding or on your first day or second day, whatever it is, and you're feeling like my hips are moving, but I'm super scared to go, but they still moving. I think it's
Yeah.
what we do at that moment to be like,
Mhm.
you know, F this. I'm gonna just go to the dance floor and whatever, whether
Right.
he likes me or she likes me or whatever, I'm just gonna have fun. And I think once we go through that, you know, I'm not a, I'm not a painter. I don't dance. I don't sing. Who cares? Go to
Yeah.
a piano bar and sing with everybody there. See how that feels. It's like super amazing. Have a drink if you're a drinker. If you're, just have water. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever you want. Have some juice. That sugar
Yeah.
will kick it up, kick it
It will.
up, But I think it's just super important on that point that you just made. We're all scared, but what do you do after that? You always wanted to, do a painting for your mom or write a little poem for your nephew. I don't know, like
Yeah.
whatever the random thing that you wanted to do. I think just, get over the fear, go out there and have fun with whatever it is. I think once we get to that point, and at least for me, I think it's just a moment of like, whatever. I'm gonna just do my little move here. Who cares?
Right.
No,
Right.
even if people are watching, most of the time nobody cares because they're in their little world. So
Yeah.
you just do it. Just freaking do it.
I
And
know.
dance. I really think um, and if you want to jump into, I think art has such a big part of our lives. As a writer, I'm actually doing this whole article on it, and I was asking myself, like, really, but it's art in everybody's life. And I really sat on it. And if you really, really think about it, and I'm just going deep here,
Yeah.
is what really guides your life through anything. You know, you always have your favorite song, your favorite movie, your favorite
Yeah.
people to watch dance. You have a favorite design. Look at what you're wearing. Look why you wear a watch, why you wearing those shoes, why you're
Mm,
wearing those earrings, why you're wearing the headband, how your house looks, why you love the ways you love. And I don't
yeah,
think we ask ourselves that question a lot, whether a spectrum economically you are, art has a big part of who you are
for
and where
sure.
you're going.
For sure.
What do you think about that?
You just kind of blew my mind a little bit about like what you wear. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. That's a way to express yourself. That's an art form, right? And again,
Anything.
it's that connection too, right? This designer created a piece, right? Let's say it has beautiful frills or something on it, and you see that and you go, wow, this makes me so happy. You come from two different walks of life, but you
Mhm.
still have the connection to this one piece that someone created out of nothing. It wasn't there before. They created it from their own mind and their own ideas. And here's someone receiving that saying, wow, this makes me feel a certain way. When I wear it, I feel powerful. I feel beautiful. I feel feminine.
Yeah.
It's all the feelings that they want to feel too. There's that
Mhm.
connection. You don't even know each other. That just blew my mind right there. I didn't think about that.
Everything, anything that we do on anything.
Yeah,
Art has had a big point on what you're thinking and where you're going. And I think and that's why I decided to do this 10-part series, because I was like, we don't hear a lot about this.
yeah,
We're very visual, and I think technology has made things very easy for us, like buy me this shirt, I wanted that painting. But we don't really have any like anything like a conscious decision of like a painting and why am I wearing this? You know, we're
hmm
so mechanical on all these things that I think I guess I want for everybody to never forget about the artist behind your likes and dislikes, and because
right.
we don't like all the art.
But
What
that
are
shapes
some
you. That shapes you, right? If you don't like it, that's just you. And but it's great dialogue to have with someone, right? Like that's why I like art galleries. My boyfriend, he's really into certain types of artwork, and he'll bring me there, and he'll be like, "Is do you like this?" I'm like, "It's not my kind of style, but I'm trying to be open to it. I'm trying to
yeah.
okay, I like this part. It looks like pop art. I appreciate this, but some of it I'm not into." And then recently I just went to what's that place in like under San Francisco, that really beautiful little town.
Oh, Carmela or
No,
the
on the coast. Carmel by the sea.
yeah.
Carmel, and they have a lot of wonderful art galleries. And I walked into this art gallery and there was a painting. And I just stopped and I couldn't stop staring because this one spoke to me.
Hmm.
It just like gave me so much emotions that I wasn't expecting. And I didn't think like from afar that this was a painting that I liked, but when I got closer to it, I went, "Oh my gosh, the brush strokes, the movement of it. I feel like I'm in early 1900s Paris, and I can hear the people talking that he painted, and I'm just like in awe of it. I'm like, wow. And French girl, I love anything French, so that speaks to me. I'm sure to my boyfriend it probably wouldn't speak to him, but it
Yeah.
did something for me. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about art. It's very like subjective. Everyone has their different takes on it, and that's a
Hmm.
beautiful conversation to have, right?
Yeah.
So I even told my boyfriend, I was like, look at this piece of art. This is what I was feeling. And he's like, oh wow, that's interesting. Maybe he wouldn't have felt that, but it's cool to talk about. And maybe it evoked something in him that I don't know about. So that's the beauty of art.
I love it. I think it's just art, you know, I it's like what I said earlier, like you have never danced, how do you breathe, right? It's like how do how do you do that? But
Yeah.
that's just my extreme thinking.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think art is just like such a tool to heal. Is I think a tool to change our lives, to give us perspective, to show us what we don't like, what we like. I know none of us are parents, but what would you say to those parents that have kids and that don't know how to maybe appreciate the art and are focused on their kids to do school, do the university, finish this, finish that? Because parents do that because they want you to have a great future.
Exactly. I'm not a parent, but I can only imagine that, a parent worries about their child all the time. The moment a child goes into a car, it's like, oh, maybe a little bit of hesitation. Or, I used to go backpacking through Europe by myself, and my dad would just be like, oh, why do you do this? Like he would get nervous for me to go by myself as a girl.
Yeah,
So I can only imagine that parents, when they see that their child wants to be an artist, there's kind of like that, what's that, like the word where it's like a starving artist. They
the
don't want
taboo
their,
that we all have. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's that common phrase, right? And I don't think parents want they don't want their child to starve. So I think it comes from a good place where they say, "Ooh, this is going to be hard if you really want to pursue an artistic career." Just like, being a singer, being an actor, forget it. Like it's tough because you're always trying to get a job. And when you do your job and you finish it, it's back to square one, auditioning, 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 getting so many no's all the time. So I'm sure a parent would see this and go, I don't want this for my child. I want them to be set up and to live okay in this already challenging world that we have economically. It's pretty difficult. So I have, a lot of sympathy and empathy for parents that maybe try to tell their children, do something else, be a doctor because you're going to help people, you're going to have such financial success, it'll be such a great weight off your shoulders. But my advice would be, listen to your kid. Do you really want your kid to be working these hours and studying and doing all this stuff that they don't want to do? Because I did that. I in school, I was in a school that I did not want to be in at all. And I was miserable. I was depressed. I was suicidal. And it wasn't until a therapist told my dad, you have to get her out of here. You have to put her in a school that has more of an artistic, calling to it, or else you're not going to have a daughter anymore. And that changed him. I think that's when in the middle of the school year, I went to a new school and I thrived. I was so happy. So what if I'm not at a school that's, this prestigious school that, has all these awards, and you know what I mean? Like it's like known to be this amazing school. Now I'm at a school that maybe doesn't have that title, but I'm happy. I'm
Hmm.
really, really happy. And I'm doing so much better academically now. Why is that? It's because I'm getting what I need, which was my theater. I had a wonderful theater program, um, choir program, like everything was just it made me so happy. So that's what I would, tell parents. Listen to your kid. If they are really happy doing something artistically, even if it doesn't bring in a lot of money, but they're happy,
Hmm.
that's the end result that we all want for our kids.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not something that, because you never know, right? They're kids. You never know if they actually want to be a singer or an actor or whatever art form they're doing.
Mhm.
But actually supporting them, I think, on what, you know, they like, building Legos, I don't know,
Yeah,
video
yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's exploration. It's like figuring it
Yeah,
out, right? That those are our school years.
yeah.
Once we're, and then even college, we're still figuring ourselves out as young adults. And is this what I want to do? I got to explore. I went to theater and I actually stopped acting and I said, I want to explore what it's like behind the scenes of the theater. So I did costume design, makeup design, lighting, sound, and I discovered how much I love stage management. I
Mhm.
love it. Maybe it's the Virgo in me that, loves to be organized with my binder and like putting everything in its place, making sure this is here, this is here, this is ready for the actor. I loved it and I was so good at it. And that's what college is. That's what school is. It's to discover what else do I like? What else is calling my name? That's part of discovery.
Yeah, for sure. I think just as you keep saying, just trying, discovering, see how it helps you, how it makes you feel, and whether it is for a in a professional way or it's just for like, relieve the stress from work. We live
Yeah.
in such a stressful, world that, you come home, play some music, sing, dance, explore different things, do different things here and there. Now
Yeah.
they have drawing for adults. So you don't feel that bad that you're coloring kids the books, even though you love them, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many outlets out there now for adults, but it's just art. It's
Yeah.
just things that makes us happy. and
Mm-hmm.
uh and I think just exploring and trying things, and as we said, whether it's professionally or just for fun and
Yeah.
relieve stress and help you heal, I think it's just like a great thing to do. And just never forget that art is there for you to really change you and help you
Yeah.
and help you. Do you
Definitely.
think uh do you think art has healed you? I know you said it has helped you with mentally issues and all that, but now that you're in a better state of mind, how does art change you, and how does art do you feel like it helps you heal?
It's my everyday life. It's not just acting, right? It's my everyday. Every day. There, like you said, clothes, um, what I like to watch on TV. You know me. I love vintage things, right? I'm all about vintage. And I love to watch an old vintage movie and it puts me in a state. I don't know, there's like a state of warmth that I feel. If I'm going through something difficult, as I think we all do, there's probably a favorite movie that we watch that makes us feel um, young again, or when we didn't have as many problems and we would sit and watch this movie. So we go back to that movie. Um, music, music is such a wonderful thing. If I'm going to a vintage event, for my vintage music, and it gets me in that mood. If I'm just really in a blissful state, I play dance music and I'm dancing. I grab my cat and I hold her and I just I hug her and I dance. um it's my everyday. Every day there's something that I'm doing artistically. Singing, I still sing a lot, maybe not in front of people because I still get a little nervous sometimes, but when I'm in the car, I'm trying to like think of, ooh, okay, what karaoke song can I sing next? And like what's speaking to me? My Selena today. Selena, she brings out that Latina in me that sometimes I feel like, it's hard to come out because I still struggle with my Americanism and my Latinism. I'm still like kind of
Yeah,
struggling to find that. So music, it's wonderful. I can play some Carlos Vives. I can play, Grupo Nietzsche, and I feel like that part of me just, it's there. Oh, it's there. Like I can feel like, okay, I have Colombian blood, like it's there. And it makes me feel warm and wonderful.
yeah, I love that. I think
Mm,
that's just great. Like, I think we just need to remind ourselves of the things that makes us feel good, the the things that help us through things such as art. In this case, we're talking about art, and just never forget to go and play.
yeah.
And so,
And also, reading. I just kind of rediscovered reading. I used to love to read as a kid. And as you get older, sometimes you don't have the time, or you sit down and then something comes in your mind. You're like, oh, I have to do this, right? Like we get really busy and
mhm.
we need to quiet our minds, and reading can be a little bit difficult for me. But this past year, I put like a goal for how many books to read, and I surpassed it, which I was really excited. But I've
Okay,
noticed that's another piece of artwork, right? Like I get transported into this world. The
Mm-hmm.
last one I read was The Paris Wife, and it's historical fiction, but I felt like I was transported to 1920s France. And again, it's like even after I finished that book, for days I still felt like I was in that world. And that's a really cool feeling to have. And sometimes I was telling a mutual friend of ours, I like to read 3 books at a time, 2 to 3, because maybe one day I don't want to read about Paris. Maybe one day I want to read about self reflection,
Yeah.
about the spirit that, that lives within us all, and, more spiritual book. And I'll read that because that's what I'm feeling that day. And that's a great um, kind of thing to have, to
Mm-hmm.
to go to that. It's like I'm feeling this, and you read something and it puts you in that zone. It's just, I don't know. That's another form of artwork that I think more people should explore, even
Yeah.
if it's hard for readers, because I was there to practice. I
Mm-hmm.
always gave myself a goal. All right, 10 pages, 5 pages a day. And then it gets easier, and then it becomes wonderful once you actually like really get yourself into it. It's just a habit you have to build.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's so many great stories out there. So many. Whether it's for fun, the fiction part,
Yeah.
different eras. Um, there's a thing for everyone too.
For everyone. Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so there's like a bunch of things to explore right there too. If you're looking for something to relieve the stress and get your mind out of the social media, because I think we get too stuck into the scrolling action all day long.
Yeah. And trying to see what's going on in other people's lives. It's like, well, what about your life? Like, let's,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
exactly. What about you? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a great point right there. And I think, yeah, I mean, books are amazing. And if for whoever is listening, if you're like, oh no, I hate books, this or that, no time for it. There's also audiobooks,
I was
and
just going to say, yeah.
it's also great because I lived in LA my whole life. I was stuck on the 405 for hours. I want to say like half of my life I had to
Uh,
stand on the 405 in LA.
oh,
And
yeah.
that's like about 3 to 4 hours on commute itself, right?
Yes.
And that's in a good day. So let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you, I have heard so many amazing books like biographies, fiction, self-help books,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
things that you can think of. And it's just great because I felt like also by you having that experience, especially with autobiographies,
Yeah.
you
Love
learn
that.
so much, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great way to also, pump your creativity and like the characters, or like if it's a cell book, like, oh my god, I never thought about that,
Yeah.
so there is a bunch of things that you could do in this kind of like artistic realm that we're talking about, where
Mm-hmm.
you can really develop into, as we said, you don't have to be a pro, but this will help you feeling better when you go to your
Mm-hmm.
accounting job or your director of the hospital job. I don't know. Whatever it is that you
Definitely.
do, I think whatever whatever art form that you hear, listen, or do, if it makes you happy, why not?
Yeah, and you can learn something from it. I learned a lot about, my favorite actresses, Rita Hayworth. These are all like older actresses, Rita Hayworth, um, Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn. I've read their biographies, and it amazed me to find out that, you know, these women were not the most confident people. When they would go on set, they didn't want to make mistakes. They felt a little bit insecure. And you would think, looking at these beautiful women on screen, like, wow, they have such a presence. Like they can't be insecure. So when I read that, I'm going, oh wow, I'm normal. When I step onto set, sometimes I get a little nervous and I want to do a good job. And that fear creeps in. And it's like, wow, these professionals that are legends, they had the same fears as me.
Yeah.
It becomes relatable. So reading stuff like that, it helps me. a lot
Yeah.
to it's like another form of therapy for me. I can read this and say, "Oh, okay, I'm not alone. I am not alone in this."
Hmm. I love that.
Hmm.
And before we leave, because I think this has been an amazing conversation and we can just talk art all day long.
I know. We could.
Plus, your favorite thing to do when you're feeling down.
Other than a bubble bath, let's see. I think I'm a really big fan of Netflix. Like I said, old movies that really puts me in a really good place. Um, it's funny. I like to listen to a lot of sad music. I have a playlist that's sad. It's called Sad. So when I'm feeling sad, listen to this when I'm in the bath or just by myself. Um, and I cry. And it actually feels good to release that
Yeah.
through music, which is interesting to me. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, why do I do that? But it feels good to release. It feels good to hear something and just get it out. Because afterwards, I feel lighter. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It and music helps me with that. Or watching a romantic, movie or a sad movie. I like to be in that sad bubble to get out the sadness, you know, and then I feel
Or
better. It feels good, but that's artwork. That's creation.
yeah,
And that's what it's meant to do is to evoke feeling.
that's
It's just
awesome.
like if you're feeling blissful and you're so happy, play fun, happy music and like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Well, when I'm sad, I need to hear something a little bit more subdued and to get those emotions out.
Yeah. Try to find what's going on there. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever art does for you and when you're ups or downs or whatever, you know, take it all in. That's
Yeah.
what art is. Just take it all in. There's no mistakes to be made,
There's no right, there's no wrong.
right? There's no wrong. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares.
Yeah, definitely.
And just remember, art it's everywhere. Thank you so much for being here today. I love our conversation. I think there's still more art to be talked about.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody that's listening today, it was a little bit of a reminder of how important art is in our lives and how art can be helpful to heal you and get you to a better place too. So thank you everyone for listening today. Thank you, Monica, for being here. I love you, and
I
I
love
hope I
you.
see you soon too.
I hope
And
so.
also, what I'm gonna do too, I'm gonna put some of Monica's links too for some of her work art and all that for everybody to check if you want.
Yeah, I'm
She
on Criminal Minds this coming Thursday. I don't know when you're putting this podcast out, but I'll be on Criminal Minds. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
that's awesome. That's a great show too. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll put her links info too for you to check her out and all her movies and all that. I will put all my information there too. You can always find me on alexvalgood.com. You can find me on all social medias. And also remember my book is out and you can find it on Barnes and Noble and Amazon. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. It's a great read too. If you want to get into books, please
Yeah.
do go ahead and do that. Also, if you're listening to this, DM me on Instagram and I'm gonna give you a very nice discount if you want to get my book. So
Ooh.
thank you everyone for being here, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy and blessed day today. Bye bye.